Good morning, folks. Thank you for being here early. We'll get started in just about a minute. Please familiarize yourselves with the controls of this live webinar, and we'll be right with you. Good morning. I'm your host, Lenny Orlov with Seattle Human Services. If you're joining us online, live, or on YouTube, please make a moment to explore the closed captioning options by clicking on the gear under the video and selecting one of 7 languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, Korean, Russian, Spanish, or Vietnamese. Our YouTube channel is called Aging King County. And if you click the subscribe button and the bell, you'll be notified when our next video is uploaded. Before we begin today's program, I would like to ask everyone to join me in our land acknowledgement. At Seattle Human Services, we acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. Visit duwamishtribe.org to learn more. Find out how to get involved, including their upcoming events. As we continue to recognize November as National Native American Heritage Month, this month's other designation is National Family Caregivers Month. On Saturday, which is this Saturday, actually, November 14th, from 12 to 2 p.m., HAN Disability Services presents Legacy of Love, African American Caregiver Forum. It's an annual event intended to give participants time to revive, refresh, and connect with other family caregivers. Past forums have been day-long in-person events, but this year, due to the pandemic, the 2-hour forum will be held virtually. This event is free and open to anyone, so please tell your friends and use the registration link to let us know you plan to attend. The 2020 theme is Caregiving in the Time of COVID, and I'm pleased to report that the keynote speaker this year is George Dix, geriatric mental health specialist at Harborview Medical Center, who was also a guest on Close to Home back in July. The link is in the top right corner if you're watching this on YouTube. And exactly a week from today, the same time, on Close to Home sister program, presented in partnership with the Seattle Public Library, the Civic Coffee Hour, we will hear from Mami Hera, the General Manager of Seattle Public Utilities. Mami will discuss customer support and service equity, and other aspects of the work of SPU in the time of COVID-19. The coffee hour, the caregiver forum, and all of our Other online programs are accessible from the same virtual event hub, bit.ly/age-friendly-live, no spaces, but each word is capitalized. Visit there anytime to find information on upcoming events and a playlist with all the previous episodes, also with subtitles in 7 languages. But now I'd like to welcome you to today's program. Our guests on Close to Home, Stories of Health, Tech, and Resilience are both from an organization called HopeLink. Jim Bolland and Sarah Sisko will each have a total of 15 minutes, 10 to present and 5 for questions. In the interest of time, we do ask that you go ahead and leave a comment right away, even now, with anything you'd like them to address, and even while they're still speaking. On the live show, each time we stop for the Q&A, we'll always go to the phones first, followed by as many online questions as we have time for. My City of Seattle colleagues, Michael Taylor-Judd and Tara Shively, will gather all of your input and pass it along to our guests, who will either respond on the live broadcast or in a YouTube comment once the video is uploaded. You'll also get their contact information in case you wanted to reach out directly. And with any questions related to aging or disability, please call 1-844-348-5464 and speak to a Community Living Connections advocate. They can help locate a wide range of resources, including food and meals. The call is free, interpretation is available upon request, and services that are offered are professional, confidential, and most are also free of charge. Again, that number is 1-844-348-5464. You may also visit them on the web at communitylivingconnections.org, all one word, to see the list of participating organizations in the network with links to their individual websites. Again, communitylivingconnections.org. And you know, it just so happens that HopeLink is one of the providers in the Community Living Connections network. Being in a network is not a requirement for being close to home, but it sure is a bonus. By the way, is there an organization or an individual in your community that you think older adults in Seattle might be interested in? Let us know in the comments section. And now I would like to introduce Jim Bolland from HopeLink. Jim is an employment specialist at HopeLink. He has 17 years of experience helping people in employment-based skills. He has worked at 2 nonprofits and enjoys helping people realize their potential. Jim, thank you so much for joining us here today. Please remember to unmute your microphone. You are live on Close to Home.
Hi, my name is Jim Bolland. I'm an employment specialist at HopeLink. HopeLink is a community action nonprofit agency that has been serving low-income families and individuals in North and East King County since 1971. In April of next year, April 2021, will be our 50th year anniversary. Very exciting. The HopeLink approach promotes self-sufficiency to create lasting personal and community change. Our services are completely free. Each year, we help more than 64,000 people through programs to provide stability and the skills and knowledge to exit poverty. HopeLink services help clients with basic needs such as food and shelter, and we have case managers that provide help with stability and resources. HopeLink has many programs that can help a client increase their income, maintain stable housing, and when appropriate, help with education. We help people with GED and English for Work. English for Work is a program that helps people who are new to the country or have been in the country for quite a while and help them with resumes, cover letters, interview skills, and as well as English. And they receive a certificate at the end. I work in employment. I've been, next page, please. Next slide. Oh, and then the next slide after that, I guess we missed a slide. Sorry. So on the next slide, please. There we go. So I work in employment. I've been at HopeLink since August of 2013. As an employment specialist, we provide one-on-one job coaching services, 1-hour sessions on the phone, online, or on Zoom. Our HopeLink centers are closed to the public because of COVID-19. However, we still provide services, and we have created a solid system helping our clients either on the phone, on Zoom, and if needed, in person. We have employment specialists at 5 centers. That's Shoreline, Kirkland, Redmond, Bellevue, and Carnation. I work in the Bellevue location. So when I was working at the Bellevue office, right now I'm virtual, I'm everywhere, but when I worked at the Bellevue office, I would actually drive to meet with clients. So many of my clients lived in different areas. For example, so I would, if my clients lived in Issaquah or North Bend, I would go meet with them at a public library or at a community center or at a church, because I knew that traveling for them would be difficult and expensive, by the way. So with that in mind, when I do my Bellevue, my service area is Bellevue, Mercer Island, Preston, Issaquah, all the way to North Bend, and I'm sure I missed a few cities in there as well, but that's pretty much my service area. We assist job seekers with their resumes, cover letters, career assessment, online career assessments, labor market information, mock interview questions, and much more. The job seeker is always in control of the meeting. So every time I meet with a client, I always say to them on the phone or on Zoom, what would you like to learn today? What would you like to do today? Because I wouldn't be much of an employment specialist if I said, we're going to do this today and we're doing that next week. I always ask people what they want to do, how I can help them. So we assist with job searching, but we're not a staffing agency. Many times I have clients when they first meet with me say, what kind of job can you get me today? What jobs do you have available? Could you get me a job in forklift? And I say to them, we're not a staffing agency, but we do make connections with our employers. So for example, I had a client say to me a few years ago, I really want to work at SeaTac Airport. So I met the client at SeaTac Airport and we went to talk to a recruiter, and the client did get a position at the airport. I had another client that wanted to work at Holland America Cruise Lines in Seattle. Beautiful building, by the way. I was really impressed how fancy that building was. I went there and I met with a recruiter, and the client was able to obtain employment. Now, I want to be clear that I don't just hand out clients' names to recruiters. The client applies for positions, and then I get the client's consent, the verbal consent, a release of information allowing me to contact that recruiter with the hope that the client will be able to obtain position in their field. So I always say to clients, hey, tell me where you would like to work and I'll be happy to make a connection for you, whether it's Amazon or a hotel or with companies in the area such as Coca-Cola. I'd be happy to make connections for you and create a connection for you as well as HopeLink. I wanted to give you a success story if I can. A few years ago, I worked with a client. She lived out of state. For 20 years, she was working as a sales manager and account manager, and she was doing quite well. She moved to Washington State and she became homeless, and she was living in her car. And I asked her what she would like to do, because it's always about them. What would you like to do for employment? And she said, I want to work in sales. I want to be a sales manager again. Now, I wouldn't be much of an employment specialist if I said, oh, that job is way too difficult. Why don't we get you a job in something else? That's not my role. My role is to help them find a job in what they want to do. So we did some researching, and she found a position that she liked, and she did it. And I was in contact with her, but then exactly a year later, from when she was living in her car, she called me up and she said, Jim, I make $11,000 a month. And I said, could you repeat that? So she did. And she said, what do I do with that? And I said to her, that's a good problem to have. So I told her about our program that we have at HopeLink, helping people with their financial services. So if somebody needs help with increasing their credit score or getting lower payments on their credit cards, we have a staff member that is dedicated in helping them obtain that, or helping them figure out ways to get that for that to be completed. So not everyone is going to make $100,000 a year, or $130,000 a year in her case, when they leave the employment program. However, we like to help people realize their potential and realize what type of jobs are out there for them. Now, there are emergency positions out there. When I say emergency position, I mean somebody can get a position at a grocery store or at a warehouse while they're paying their bills, they're also building their skills to get their dream job that they would really like to get. So our clients are based in our service area. However, there is a great program which I really wanted to tell everyone about. If you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the remote resume review, it says for job seekers impacted by COVID-19. That is no longer true. So we haven't updated the form yet, but it's a free service to any job seeker that needs help with the current job market. It's a temporary service. So what that means is that it's people can have their resumes reviewed by an employment specialist either via email, on Zoom, or on the phone. So with Zoom or on the phone, I would connect with that client and help them with their resume, or another employment specialist would help that person with their resume. And it's again, it's a free service. So you go to our HopeLink website, go down to where it says need help, to employment, click on that link, and be able and tell the in the email, let us know that you want to be helped by remote resume review in the subject line. And then attach your resume and let us know how you would want your resume to be reviewed, whether it be on the phone, on Zoom with the employment specialist, or we'll have the employment specialist review the resume and send off information about what they think needs to be changed. Now, I want to let people know that I've worked with people all over Western Washington and as far away as the Midwest with their resumes. So again, you don't need to be in our service area of North and East King County. You could be anywhere. And when you send an email, I want people to be aware that it's going to take 2 business days before somebody gets back to you. So I've had people say to me in the past, hey, I sent my resume out for remote resume review. Nobody contacted me until Tuesday. And I said, well, when did you send it? I sent it on Saturday. Well, the employment department is not open on the weekends. There are other departments at HopeLink that are open on the weekends. So if you send it on a weekend, you'll have to wait until 2 business days until somebody reaches you. We also send resources and links as well to help that person with employment. And if they are interested in the employment program, and we can certainly tell them more information about our employment program as well as other programs at HopeLink. So next slide, please. So my contact information, I'm in HopeLink, so it's www.hopelink.org, and there's my name and my contact information. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And speaking of questions, does anyone have any questions they would like to ask?
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. This is great. As most folks that have come to our events virtually before, they know that we've also done in-person events on a monthly basis. The coffee hours that I mentioned, those used to be in person and have been going out for decades. And at these events, and otherwise from clients, we often get questions about older adults and employment. So I'm pretty sure there will be plenty of questions in the Q&A right now for you. So let me now turn it over to one of our moderators, Tara, to see what folks are asking, because it does not look like anyone on the phone right now has a question. So let's go to the Q&A questions.
Hi, good morning. So the first question in the chat is, what employment services are available to Seattle residents?
Oh, That is a good question. I would try Neighborhood House. They are another large nonprofit in the Seattle area. And I can certainly send information over to Lenny today. I'd be happy to send information over about that website.
Thank you for doing that, Jim. And I just wanted to jump in to remind folks that Community Living Connections is a great resource for. I guess they'll start by giving you HopeLink and the other place that Jim just mentioned. But there may be other resources. So with any aging and disability question, including employment in Seattle, you can call that number. And now back over to Tara for another question or two.
All right, so the next questions are sort of related, so I'll ask them together. First question is, how do you approach ageism in hiring? And then the next question is, do you have advice for older people who are looking for work who have decades more experience than most hiring managers?
Okay, so the first question was about ageism. Well, when people are on LinkedIn, I always tell people to, I always suggest that if you have a LinkedIn picture, put a black and white picture up there so people can't see your age. And what was the first part of the question again? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, no problem. The first question was, how do you approach ageism in hiring?
Oh, I look at, well, I don't hire at HopeLink, but what I would do is I would look at the person's skills. I mean, I would really look at the person's skills on their resume, and when I talk to the person on the phone or an in-person interview, I would look at see all the different skills that they have to required for that position. So there are different types of resumes out there. There's chronological, functional, and combination styles. And so if somebody has a great number of skills, I would tend to lean toward a functional resume, which shows all the different types of skills that person has to offer and experience. So if somebody has 20 years of experience, I would put down that they have 15 years plus of experience. Otherwise, it might age somebody if they have 20 years of experience, rather than saying you have 15 years plus of experience. So there are certain words that you would want to use while working on a resume and cover letter, or even answering questions. Yeah, it's the way just to word yourself. And I always think that it's great. I mean, if somebody has years of experience, I would think that would be amazing to have that person work at a company, because they would have so much more knowledge or a lot more experiences, life's experiences, than maybe a young person fresh out of college. But I may look at it a little differently too. And what was the second question again?
Hi. The second question was, do you have advice for older people who are looking for work who have decades more experience than most hiring managers?
I would always say do the jobs that interest you the best. I mean, if you're really interested in working in sales, if you're interested in working in customer service, what is it about those positions that you like to do? Don't be worried or scared that people might think that that you don't have the experience or the knowledge that they're looking for. Like I always said, I always look for people's skills. If people have great skills, and they really need to show that. They really need to brag about that, because if you don't brag about it, you don't talk about it, then people aren't going to know. So talk about all your skills. Connect with recruiters on LinkedIn, or go to meetup groups, online meetup groups, and meet with people. And there's a great meetup group that I always talk about called iloveseattle.org, and it's an online, it's a group where people can have professional connections with other people, and do it in ways that makes it fun for them. So if somebody likes, and of course it's a little difficult now during COVID-19, but if somebody likes reading books, or if they like going to urban walks, or if they like, if there's a certain activity they like, they can meet with other people who are interested in also in those activities, and you can connect with people with employment. So that's just one idea that I have, but I always encourage people to get out there and talk to lots of people and to share your skills and your experiences, because you have a lot to offer.
Thank you. It looks like a new question just came in. The second question was about hiring managers who feel threatened by someone older than them who have much more experience. And it looks like that's the last question for now.
And I would want to know why somebody would feel threatened. I mean, if people feel threatened, why do they feel threatened? Maybe they're afraid that that person might want their position. I don't know. It's just interesting that people, and I've seen that too. I've heard that from people saying that they get scared that people are, they don't, that there is ageism in the workplace. I don't know if that's true or not. I always tell people just to put your best foot forward and to share your skills and your experiences and see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim and Tara. Looks like that's all we have time for today. Certainly, it's a topic that we encounter. It's something. It's a systemic issue that we encounter in everyday employment. It's something that happens at corporations, nonprofits, and government employers. There's no way around it. And I think your advice of taking pride in your skills and putting it forward. Sometimes it can be scary to do that, because if the person on the other side of the table, or at the side of the screen, as the case may be now, maybe intimidated by all of your experience, and then make a hiring decision based on that. So it's more of a question that we, there's probably not a solution, it sounds like. We just have to acknowledge that it exists and see if we can make changes, like in our organizations and in our government, and make sure that we dismantle these systems of ageism in the workplace. That's part of what Age Friendly is all about. If HopeLink would like to work with us on sort of discussing that, we're happy to do that. That's what we're here for. But thank you, Jim. We have to move on. If folks out there have more questions about employment and HopeLink, we do encourage you to go ahead and type them in. What we'll do is we'll pass them along to Jim, and if you want to leave them anonymously, that's fine. We'll post them on YouTube once this video is uploaded. So before we move on to Sarah's part of the presentation, I would like to share this other resource that's there to help all of us navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. According to coronavirus.wa.gov, Washington State's coronavirus response website, staying home is still safest, with an emphasis on restricting gatherings. To prevent virus transmission and move us closer to a successful safe start, we are all encouraged to stay as close to home as possible. But when we do go out, we're asked to keep it quick, maintain social distancing, and wear a facial covering. And as you'll see at the top there, and I'm sorry it's pretty small, this information is currently offered in 36 languages. The take home message here, it seems, is fewer, shorter, smaller, safer. That's the graphic they've developed there with little smiley faces with masks on. You can also get other information on this website, such as what's currently open, where can I get help, and how do I report a violation. All of this is available at coronavirus.wa.gov. So we ask that you tell your loved ones about this online resource and also about Washington Department of Health Assistance Hotline. That number is 1-800-525-0127, and it's open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. And on Saturday and Sunday, they're open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Same hours apply to observed state holidays. So yesterday would have been the hours of 8 to 6 p.m. Again, that number is 1-800-525-0127. Or let's say you just wanted to talk to someone about the general stress related to COVID-19. In that case, you can call Washington Listens. And that number is different. It's 1-833-681-0211. And the hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on weekends from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The number again for Washington Listens is 1-833-681-0211. So again, thank you for passing along this information to folks in your life. We really do appreciate it. But right now, let's continue with Close to Home, stories of health, tech, and resilience. Our next guest is Sarah Cisco. Sarah is the program manager for education and outreach programs on the HopeLink Mobility Management team. She manages with the mindset that transportation is a resource and not a barrier for any user. Her programs provide sustainable, consistent opportunities for partners and stakeholders to bring personalized education and resources to their communities. When she isn't working on education and outreach, she can be found walking the trail with her dog Dexter. Sarah, thank you so much for stopping by today. Maybe we'll see Dexter later on. Please remember to unmute your microphone. You're live on Close to Home.
Thank you so much, Lenny, and I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to everybody today. I do want to reiterate what Lenny just shared about staying home and staying safe, but I do want to share some tips and tricks and some resources that you can use if you do need to go out and around the community. But please always remember to wear your face mask and remember to social distance. Next slide, please. So here at the HopeLink Mobility team, we are here to help you. From trip planning to low-cost options and alternative services, we can support you throughout your journey in getting around your community. That's really the goal of my team. We have a lot of resources that I'm going to talk about, and as Lenny mentioned, we are part of the Community Living Connections Network, and the biggest piece of that is our transportation resources line. Our whole goal is to connect you, the rider, to services that can better help you. So maybe the public bus doesn't work for you, or you love riding the light rail, but it costs too much. Those are the kinds of things that my team can help you solve. Or maybe you currently are using a wheelchair because you had surgery and you need to find access to a wheelchair-friendly van and you don't want to have to go to the bus stop. Again, something that my team can help you with. And so that's really what we're here for. And I'm excited to show you today, we have a brand new website. Or I should say we've had a website for a very long time, but it is in the process of being updated. And this group today is my first group to see our brand new website. And so I'm very excited to demo that for you today. It's called findaride.org. And I'm hoping Tara can put that in the chat for me. It's just findaride.org. But before we go to that demo site, I do just want to share a couple of other general trip planning resources. There are lots of options available to you. Google Maps is one of my personal favorites because I think it does the best job showing you how to walk to the bus stop, and it's doing a great job of integrating with our public buses. One Bus Away is another great resource. That's an app you can download on your smartphone. to be able to track the bus. That's the one I use when I don't know when maybe the bus is coming. So I might use Google Maps to get me to the bus stop and then one bus away to see when the bus is coming. You can use Metro Trip Planner, and Find a Ride is listed on there, which we'll talk about in a moment. You can always call Metro customer service, and I should point out they also have interpreters available at Metro customer service. And then there's always paper bus schedules. Those are a little bit harder to access right now because libraries, city halls, and transit centers aren't as busy, and you shouldn't be going out if you don't need to. But there are available as well if you'd like to have that paper copy. If you can go to the next slide for me, Lenny. All right, so I'm going to navigate us over to our brand new website. I should point out that it is still in development, and so you're going to see a site preview. And Lenny, at the top of the screen, there's on the far left, there's what looks like to be a little computer screen at the top bar. If you can click on that, that's it. Perfect. If you can click on that for me. Well, welcome to Find a Ride. The goal with this is to really help you understand alternative resources that are available to you. As I said, this is still in development, so you'll see that there's a couple of kinks, but if you can just scroll to the bottom of the page for me, before if you go all the way down, our contact information is right there, right on the front page, right there for you to see whatever you need to see. We also link to our HopeLink Facebook page and HopeLink website. So if you maybe had some questions about getting around, but you also had some more questions about the wonderful programs that Jim shared, you can access our Facebook page, our Twitter account, and our Instagram account there as well. And so if you can scroll back up, and I promised Lenny that I would do this in 10 minutes and not take too long. So I'm trying not to talk too fast, but share all this information. If you can select Seattle area for me on the left hand, there you go, and scroll down a little bit. And let's select accessibility needs. And let's say wheelchair, that you need a wheelchair, and then hit Find a Ride for me. And what's going to come up is all sorts of different options for you. So King County Metro Transit might come up, and then let's up at the top, let's select the button that says Call Ahead. All right, and let's scroll down a little bit. We're still working out some of the kinks. Go down a little bit further. Perfect. So around the sound, this might be a service that you can use. It's giving you a lot of the pertinent information right here in the front. It's a call ahead service, which means you have to call and schedule the ride ahead of time. It's available 24/7. It allows you to have these different kinds of mobility devices that you might need, and then it shows you the price. And then maybe on the left-hand side, we can click medical trip. Toggle that over and it'll refresh. And let's scroll down a little bit. Right now things are coming up in alphabetical order because we're in a demo site. Those will be changed. Let's scroll down a little bit further for me. Keep going. A little bit further. Perfect. Let's talk about community van. This is another one of those services that's a call ahead, and what it's really showing you on this front screen is all the pertinent information. And then Lenny, if you could please click more info for me. Oh, and I think we have to scroll back up. Like I said, I appreciate you all being my demo. It's giving you a little bit more information when you actually click into that page, talking about the program, providing you the contact information. If we scroll down a little bit further, we are able to see, all sorts of different information, where the translations are available, the website. And so really this idea is this is allowing you to do a little bit of your own research to really understand. Maybe you don't feel comfortable calling our team yet, or you want to see what services you think might work, or you just want to play around. Maybe you're new to alternative transportation resources. This is a great way to do that. And then if I can have you click at the top where it says travel tools. And let's click on the regional trip planners towards the bottom. If you can click on that for me. This is another great resource. So like I had mentioned earlier, this is where Google Maps, Bing Maps, if you like using Bing Maps, if you can scroll down a little bit further for me. And then it lists the different trip planners that exist from the different transit agencies. So this is kind of your one-stop shop of being able to access this information. I'm going to have you toggle back to my PowerPoint and go to my next slide because I know that I'm coming up on my time here. If you can go to my next slide for me. And that would be the transportation resources line slide. Perfect. The Transportation Resources line, this is our big partnership with Community Living Connections, and so we're a part of that network to sponsor our Transportation Resources line, but this is open to you. Give us a call. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will return your phone call the next business day. So if you call after 4 o'clock on Friday, we won't be able to call you back until Monday, but we're able to help you, like I said, learn lower costs, free services, trip plan, and you really are just talking to one of my team members. We are able to have, this line is available dual English Spanish, as well as third-party interpreters. So if you speak Vietnamese, let us know and we'll get an interpreter on the line. But my staff support does speak Spanish as well. And give us a call, talk to us about your needs, help us understand what we can do to better support you. Maybe you have a friend that needs some support and you want to be that support for her or him. Call us and we can help you. If you don't feel comfortable calling, feel free to email. We monitor our email inbox every single day. And so that's another great way for you to get access to these alternative transportations. I have a couple of more slides on COVID precautions on the bus, but given the time, I think I'm going to jump over if there are any questions that I can answer. But, you know, just a reminder to wear a mask, stay home when you're sick, maintain physical distance, and avoid close areas. And lots of our transit agencies are doing stuff to keep you safe. So I just, you know, please do stay safe, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Sarah. I know that's a great resource. We've got a comment that came in here from Irene who said, Find a Ride is an awesome resource that I've used many times. No questions coming in at the moment, but I have a question I'd like to ask. How soon do you think your demo is going to launch?
Sure. I am hopeful that it will be up and running before the end of the year. Find a Ride does, if you go to findaride.org, it does currently work. There are some definite kinks in our older system, so I'm hoping our new system will be in place, ready to go before the end of the year.
I don't see any questions coming in at the moment, so we can turn it back over to you, Lenny. I know I'm sure a lot of us are really excited to see the site once it launches and start using it more.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And you know, since we don't have any questions in the queue currently, I'm wondering, Sarah, if you could maybe talk a little bit more about you know, COVID-19 and transportation. We even on previous programs, we've had folks who have expressed, you know, apprehension about riding transit nowadays, and yet that's their only way of getting around. So anything you can share in terms of that?
Make sure I'm unmuted. Yes, I appreciate that, Lenny. I think, you know, I always want to echo essential trips only, but we do really understand that for a lot of folks, public transit is the only option, and especially as we get to winter months, that it's the safest option because it's dry and it's warm. And so I would just say, always wear your mask. Observe the signs. I have a lot of opportunity to talk to folks at transit agencies, and they're taking this very seriously. Buses are very clean. The light rail is very clean. They've upgraded their air filters. They've added safety precautions. You know, I do a lot of observing of buses around our area, and I do think, you know, their drivers are doing the best that they can to help folks on the bus. And if you don't feel comfortable say something. Let the bus driver know. Call Metro customer service or Sound Transit customer service and do let them know. But there are a lot of precautions being taken. I'd also say give us a call if you have concerns, and maybe we can help identify a smaller service where it's just you and a driver. Like in Bellevue, we have a program called Crossroads Connect, and it's more like Uber, but it's very cheap. And so, let us help you find those alternative resources. But maybe it's just you and a driver. The driver's willing to keep the windows open, things like that. And so I'd love to be able to help folks figure that out as well.
Great, thank you so much for addressing that, Sarah. Like I said, that's been a concern that I've heard from both folks we work with in the community and also, our own employees who often rely on getting to the office or used to by using public transport. So that's all the time that we have for that's all the time for questions that we have today. Again, if you have more questions that you think of and you end up posting after we're off the air, or if you want to wait for a week or so until we get this posted on YouTube, you're welcome to ask your question there, and we'll definitely. I noticed that on your website there, Sarah, that you do have a YouTube channel. So it looks like there will be an opportunity to interact once that is posted. And I hope that folks will go to hopelink.org to learn more about the organization, or will reach out to our guest directly. The contact information for Sarah is right now on the screen and was shared in the chat, and we've also shared the information for Jim earlier, and it will be, of course, included in the YouTube description. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jim, for being here today. And thanks also to my Human Services Department colleagues. Michael is back, and then Tara is on with us. I appreciate your work in the virtual studio today. Most of all, though, as always, thanks to all of you, our viewers, for tuning in to the live show and for checking it out on YouTube. If you haven't already, please consider joining our virtual community by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell. That will allow you to be the first to know when our content is uploaded. And, we interact with other channels like HopeLinks as well. Before you go, a reminder about this network that kept coming up today, which is the Community Living Connections Network. Organizations like HopeLink that are supported by the City of Seattle and King County are all gathered together under it's kind of it used to be a no wrong door kind of approach, and it still is. It's just that the door has become more of a virtual concept. You can call them at 1-844-348-5464 with any question related to aging or disability, and that includes transportation, employment resources, or visit them on the web at communitylivingconnections.org to see what organizations are in the network. And those that do have hours, some of the organizations do have limited walk-in hours with precautions. If you were to walk into one of those, you would be referred to another organization network. So really, really helpful resource. So, please share it with a friend or loved one. Again, thanks for joining us. Please be safe, be well, and continue to stay socially and civically engaged in your community. We look forward to seeing you and your friends at next week's coffee hour or at another Age-Friendly Seattle virtual event. Thank you, take care, and see you very, very soon.